Hey everyone. So I just wanted to go ahead and do a video on how to use the LIRN Library. I know many of you are doing research and other writing assignments where the LIRN Library is going to play a huge role in a lot of your writing. Of course, you can use other sources like Google Scholar and any other academic sources. So I'll be going over a few of those too. But realistically, when you're starting off, there are so many areas that you can do research. It can get very scary. So again, we're going to go over the Learn Library and we're going to touch on a few other resources, but we do want to stick with just this one for now because again, as you're getting introduced to your research, we want to be sure that you're getting sources from a credible place and a legitimate place. Because the issue with using just something like Google is that when you're grabbing a .com, you have to be careful because a lot of those sites can be generated by just about anybody with no true credentials and they don't have a legitimate background. So we want to be careful when we're doing our research, right? So the first thing you're going to want to do is click into any of your courses. For this example, I'm going to use the CNI College Library course. So here, and like with any other course, on the left-hand side, you're going to see a link called Learn Library. Now you can go ahead and click this and it'll pop up in a different window. When you're here, the first thing you want to do before you do anything else is click on Vendor View. Please refrain from just searching here where it says search all databases because this can cause a lot of headaches. When you search there, it's going to search through every single thing that we have access to, and that can be very overwhelming. So you want to be very careful. So again, once you click into the Learn Library, it'll take you to this page. You want to select Vendor View. From here, you're going to see that it changed the way the layout is. It set everything through vendor. So from here, we have a few options. We have the Chicago Manual of Style, but again, this is just think of this like your APA style. We have Gale Cengage, and we'll go into that in another video. We have open access resources. We'll go into this one a bit in this video, but we will be primarily focusing here where it says ProQuest. So what you want to do is click on this one. It will bring you all the way down to ProQuest. Now, ProQuest has various databases for just about everything. The only issue is that if you click some of these or if you use some of these, it's going to limit you by just so many parameters. So what I recommend is scrolling down. These are all in alphabetical order. You want to scroll down, and right here where it says ProQuest Central, you want to go ahead and click this one. Now, the reason why I recommend this one here is, as you can see, it says that this is the ultimate cross-disciplinary research tool and brings together their 30 most highly used databases to create the largest single academic research tool. So again, this is a great universal centralized database for ProQuest. Now, when you click it, it's going to take you to this page. Before you even type in the search, one of the first things I want you to do is click here where it says full text. Once you click here, we are ensuring that the articles and everything else that you get will be in its entirety. Sometimes by using Google Scholar or any of these other databases, you're going to see that not only will you get items that have full text, but you'll also get articles and other sources that only have abstracts or small wire feeds, which is something we don't really want. So here, I can go ahead and begin my search. So for example, say if I'm working on a topic with, let's see, electronic healthcare records. So I can do this, and I know for the most part, many places write healthcare separately. So I can go ahead and hit return. Now, you can see over here that on the top left, I have over 1 million results. This is way too many. And we're still not done with our filters. So again, I have the full text already set. As you know, we limit our research to no more than 5 years. Anything older than 5 years will not work. And you should know that because in both healthcare and technology, things change so fast. As you know, even within a year, things can change. So we want to keep it with a limit of 5 years. And to do that, we can go ahead and click here where it says enter a date range. From here, we can go ahead and click on here and let's do 2018. It's already here. So February 20th, as today is February 20th, 2023. And on the to date, we can go ahead and just do the end of the month. Then we'll hit update. And once it loads, again, now you can see it cut our results by almost half, which is good. It's, we don't want we don't want to have only a few hundred results, but we also don't want to have too many. Now from here, one thing that I also recommend is in the source type is I'd like you to just select the scholarly journals. The issue with using some of the newspapers or having these available, for example, you have these wire feeds. If I were to go ahead and click into a wire feed, you're going to see that many of these wire feeds are small because these are just sent to publications like newspapers, and these are things that are just printed out fairly quickly. So it doesn't really give you much. So let's go ahead and click on scholarly journals for our source type. So now, just to kind of recap what we did, is we set a few filters. We set the full text filter here. We also limited our search to only 5 years. And we've also changed our source type to scholarly journals. So now we can see here that we have just a bit over 100,000 results. So now what I want to do is start looking for my article. One of the easier things you can do is just quickly read over your titles. Now you can see that whatever it is that I typed in here, it will be highlighted. And that is a good indicator of what we are looking for, right? So again, for example, my topic is electronic healthcare records. So here I can see our major lower extremity amputations while recorded in primary care healthcare records. So I can look for something that is useful to me. Now, when we're doing research, this is where the tricky part comes in because we want to make sure that we are stating our topic correctly, or at least doing our research right. So here I want to look at some of the benefits. So let's see, benefits. And let me do here, I'm going to add this right here is called a Boolean operator. So this Boolean operator, you can have it as and, or, and not. So if I put benefits not electronic healthcare records, then it won't include this. It'll make sure it eliminates any of that. If I do or, it'll say either look for benefits or look for electronic healthcare records. But I want and because it's going to include benefits and healthcare records together. So I can do this here, hit return, and it will try to find me some other things here. Now, one more thing is sometimes, so far this is doing a pretty good job of keeping electronic health record together, but what I might want to do is, let's see, I want to add these quotation marks up here. If I do this, it will go ahead and isolate this together. Now we want to be careful because this might actually cause some issues. So here, electronic health, let's try to look for records, just electronic health records. And we can see what we're looking for. So for example, say if this is an article that I like, well, I'm going to go ahead and open it up in a new tab. And here I can start looking into this text. As you can see, when you look for a journal, the text is pretty long. When you're doing research, it's best practice to do a few things. You want to go ahead and read the abstract. The abstract, think of that as like an overview of everything that's being covered in the research without actually having to read every single thing. If the abstract is already correlating with your topic and you feel very comfortable with it, then it's safe to say that everything else here is going to be good to use. Now, again, the only thing that you're really looking for is evidence to support your own writing. You don't need it to be a one-to-one to whatever your topic is. So for example, if I were to choose a topic on electronic healthcare records in children's hospitals, but this article is electronic healthcare records or electronic health records in just hospitals in general or just between healthcare providers, it doesn't really matter too much because as long as I can see some benefits, and generally for this topic, for example, I can find some of the benefits are is just making it more efficient for a lot of healthcare providers and getting patient information. So as long as I can find a quote or some paragraphs that I can paraphrase later when I'm skimming through this, then that will help me for my research. So again, when you're looking through this, one of the best things to do is just skim through a lot of the information. Most of your research is already written in an APA format. So you can go ahead and see, okay, well, maybe I want to look at the data analysis and see through here and see if there's something that I like, or look at the results and see, okay, here it says the findings of this literature review are presented in 3 subsections, and I can look at these. Now, if I find, say, for example, something here, say if I like this single sentence here. If this is something that I like, then I can actually use this in my paper, use an in-text citation. I can either quote it or paraphrase. And if I am going to use this, there's a couple of things that I can do. On the right-hand side over here, for example, I would highly recommend that you download the PDF. The reason for this is that if I leave this tab open and if I try to come back to it within maybe another couple of hours or another day and it auto refreshes, there's a good chance that it will kick you off of this page and you will have to find it all over again. And sometimes when you're doing research, it can take you a few hours to find everything that you need. So you want to be very careful. So again, the easiest thing to ensure that you have this is to download the PDF. Then you can create a folder in your desktop or on your or within your documents and organize all of your research. It's good and best practice to create folders within your desktop or on your documents for every course and then for all your research that you're doing, because you never know when you might need it. You might have another assignment down the road where some of this research may help you. So again, I would recommend saving this. You can upload this to the cloud later, but a lot of these documents don't really take up a lot of storage. So again, say if I like this article and I want to use it. The benefit of using the LIRN Library, and especially here with ProQuest, is that there's this Cite button. If I go ahead and click this, you're going to see it will bring me to this pop-up. Now you can see here it says APA 6th American Psychological Association 6th edition. Again, it doesn't matter what you're doing here, we're only sticking with the APA 7th edition. But you can see here there are 2 options. There's the 7th edition and there's the 7th edition annotated. What we want to use is the 7th edition. We do not want to use the annotated version. So again, we're going to select this one without the annotation. Once I do that, it will refresh. And here I can go ahead and use this. I can hit copy and then I can paste this into my references on my paper. So whether you're doing your submission of topic assignment, your annotated bibliography, or your final paper or presentation, you need references for everything. Even if you're going to use this for your discussion post, references are important because they help provide support for your topic. So again, we're learning to be evidence-based researchers, as whether you're going to MRI, ST, nursing, all fields as we're progressing in this program. One of our key goals here at CNI College is to make sure that you know how to provide evidence and support for whatever stance you're taking. So again, here, I can copy and paste this. Now, one thing to be sure and to check, just like it says here, just check the accuracy for everything that you're doing. Because you want to make sure, of course, you have your authors written here, the date of publication, your titles, the journal, volume and issue number, followed by its location and a link. Sometimes you'll see that there is a period missing here. What you want to do is make sure that there's a period after the location or volume or issue number, and that the link is just left as is, just like this. If there is a DOI with a colon before the HTTPS, you want to delete that. Also, do not include anything that says retrieved from, because that was something that we used in the 6th edition that we no longer use in this newer 7th edition. And when you're copying and pasting, again, you want to make sure that when you paste everything carries over properly. Like here, as we know with the 7th edition, we want to be sure that where it says library high tech and the volume number, which is 38, that this is all italicized. So again, do a compare and contrast when you're looking at your paper and when you're looking at the reference here. And once you're done, feel free to close out. You can email this to yourself as well. If I click email, you can see here, I'd recommend sticking with full text. Click on the include bibliographic citations at the end. Make sure it's in the 7th edition. You can add your email address, your name, and anything else that you would like, and hit continue. You can also print it out if you have a printer. But again, this is one of the best things about using the LIRN library is that you have the cite function and that everything that you get from here, especially under these scholarly journals, are credible and legitimate sources that are useful for all of your topics within all of your classes. So I can continue to do my research again, and I can see that everything is fairly consistent. So if I'm going on to another one and say if I like this source, it's the same thing. Now, this one's a little different because this one actually gave me the full-on PDF. So this one here will have page numbers. If you get one like this one here, where you don't see page numbers, again, I also have the option here to look at the PDF. But if you're ever given an article that doesn't have page numbers, when you're citing, you would then refer to the paragraph numbers. So this would be one paragraph, another one here, another paragraph. So you would just count your paragraphs and then use that within your in-text citation versus using a page number. And I will be making videos in the future going over in-text citations and how to properly cite. So once I'm here, again, if this is something that I choose, I can go ahead, download the PDF. I can hit cite right up here, have this pop up. And again, I want to make sure that it is in the 7th edition of APA. So let me refresh this page here. Again, hit cite. Here we go. It's in the 7th edition. Remember, it's the non-annotated version. I can go ahead and copy this and paste this into my document. And there you go. So again, this was a quick and brief look into how to use the LIRN library, but specifically how to use ProQuest Central. Now, if we go back to the LIRN library here, like I mentioned earlier, right above, we have these open access journals. Again, if you want to access this, just like we did earlier, if you go to vendor view, you can click on where it says open access resources. All of these are great sources for your research. Just be sure that you actually know what you're trying to search for. So for example, if I'm looking at the ERIC database, as you can see here, it says provides a comprehensive, easy to use, searchable, internet-based bibliographic and full text database of education, research, and information. So ERIC is primarily based on educational research documents. So keep that in mind. As you can see, if we go towards the bottom, it says articles that are education related. So if you want to do something that is talking about education, then the ERIC database, as we can see here, might be more suited to what your research is. And as you can see, they're all pretty much the same. They try to be consistent, which is helpful because here I can select full text. I can do, let's see, assistive technology. I can type this in and hit search. Now here, it'll give me, I can download the PDFs. I can look for different articles. Now, when I click on one here, I can look at a few things. I can try to see what the article is talking about. But again, for this one, you will have to download the full text if you actually want to read everything, because this only gives you the abstract. But if you actually want to go ahead and read or review this, you would have to download the full text. One of the only things about this one here is that you would have to still do your filters, but it's not as straightforward or easy to use as the ProQuest, because again, you can do here like last 5 years, right? Since 2019. Let's do that. But when we're looking at an article, it doesn't necessarily give us an easy way to cite this. There's other things like the citation machine that will help, and I can go over that in a bit. But again, this is another good source. When we go back to the LIRN library here, one of my favorite is using PubMed. Now, PubMed provides a lot of great articles and information. You can find a lot of things from Google that will send you here to PubMed, or more specifically, the NIH. Um, so again, it's just, you'll have so much. Now, the benefit to this here is you can log in and you can save all of your searches. So for example, here, if I was looking for assistive technology, and if I hit search, again, I can change this to free full text, because there might be some articles that will cost you something, but I want to go ahead and let's do 2019. Let's do 2018 here. And I can now look for my sources. I can say here, even easier, 5 years. Now, let me look. And for example, let's take a look at this one here from PubMed. This one also provides you with the Cite button. So if I click on here, it'll give me what I need, but just make sure the format is APA. This is already set to the 7th edition of APA. We have our authors, the date of publication, the title, our journal here, as you can see, it's italicized, and our DOI. So we can go ahead and copy this and paste this to our paper. The only thing with PubMed is that you have to make sure that you click the free full text, and you may have to click here where it says DOI, because then that will reroute you to the actual text. PubMed is essentially more of an abstract kind of generator, and it helps you search for a lot of these articles via their abstracts. But most of them do provide you with a DOI, which is a digital object identifier. And like you saw here, once I clicked it, it took me to this page and it gives me the article that I need. So again, very helpful. And I can get all that information there too. And then last but not least, one of the other ones that I do want to show you is MedLine Plus. This is super useful when you're looking for information about drugs and supplements and anything else within this here. So when you're talking about drugs and supplements, you want to be sure that you have some sort of information. So you can look at what, like for example here, we're looking at this topical medication. So why is this medication prescribed? So you can see information, how should this medicine be used, and other information. All of this you can use. Just as with the, you just have to be careful that when you cite this, you cite it properly. So for example, if something like this does not have a cite function, then what I can do is go to the citation machine. So here, I'm going to type in Citation Machine, click on citationmachine.net. Now here I can do where it says create citations. I'll choose my source, which is a website. And let me go back to that page that I have here. I can copy the URL, paste this right here, hit search, and it found my website. And I can hit Cite, and it'll tell you the article title, URL, website, date accessed, and everything else. I can hit continue. This is where you want to be careful. You want to go back and forth and make sure that you have all the proper information. Now we can see here that there's no author, because websites like this generally don't really have any authors, because they are essentially through a body of editors and other researchers. So here I don't have to worry about the author. But the website title is MedLine Plus. The publisher is the U.S. National Library of Medicine, which is accurate. And now it says electronically published. Do we have a date? Now, if you don't have a date, there's a way to write it, and generally it's N period D period. But it says here last revised 2/15/2016. So that will be a date that we can use. But so 2/15/2016. So 2/15. 2016. And as we can see, this may be out of date. So, well, once you hit complete citation here, because I am using a free version, I would have to be the sponsored message. But once you do that, it will give you a It will give you your citation both for in-text and for the reference as well. So again, a good tool, and I'll make another video if needed on the Citation Machine. So yeah, so again, this is a quick overview of using the LIRN library. And just to recap really quickly on how to access this again, you can click into any course that you choose. So again, I can go to my dashboard, click into my class here. On the left-hand side, I can select LIRN Library. And again, I want to go into vendor view. And from here, I can choose ProQuest or the open access journals. If I do ProQuest, I want to scroll down until I hit ProQuest Central. Then I can select the full text, just like that, enter my topic, and begin my search. So again, if you need any additional help with any of this, as you're going forward with your assignments, feel free to contact me at librarian@cnicollege.edu. If you want some general writing tutoring, you can visit us at or contact us at writing@cnicollege.edu. I hope this helped. And again, I'm here to help you out Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. all the way up until about 6 p.m. Thank you all very much.